program that you have responsibility for, should you be confirmed, will be the Nonprofit Security Grant Program. This is really important. Mr. Wolf was talking earlier about the increase in the domestic threat. And in particular, there's a domestic threat on a number of our nonprofits and faith-based organizations. This is a grant program that's meant to help them, provide them with some of the best practices and advice and counsel, but also provide them with some hardening for their facilities. I've heard a lot from the Jewish community in Ohio and been to some of the synagogues and community centers and schools that have been affected with graffiti and a lot of death threats, bombing threats. They depend on this grant program to be able to secure those facilities and to train the employees. I'm very pleased to see that security personnel can now be used with this federal grant money to contract with security personnel. It's a carve-out in our annual appropriations bill. It's not established as a separate program. It's not authorized. So I've introduced legislation along with Gary Peters, the real Gary Peters, who just arrived, of this committee. I'll tell you about that later. But to try to be sure that we can actually authorize this program and have some certainty about it. And so we would appreciate your support on that. We've authorized it at $75 million a year. That's $15 million more than it's now being appropriated. The reason is it's not going to our smaller communities, many of whom need it badly. So my question for you today, and for Mr. Wolf as well, will you support this vitally important program and commit to help us to get it actually into law, into statute?
Senator, again, a good question. You know, currently the grants within FEMA resides in the Resilience Directorate, which is not currently under my portfolio, if you will, but I do believe, as being a recipient of federal preparedness grants of various nature, I do believe in the importance of it, and I'll be happy to work with you, if confirmed, to better that program.
Mr. Wolf?
From a policy perspective, Senator, there's great benefit both in the nonprofit security grant program as well as the grant program that's run out of the policy office when we talk about terrorism prevention. So from a policy perspective, there are many benefits to supporting that in the long term.
Thank you. This is the Nonprofit Security Grant Program, and again, it's one that's working, and we want to get it into statute to be sure there's some certainty for it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.